Part H and following are all about this phrase, consider the bill for the same period last year. The bill that you do not have. However, we have enough information to try and work out what happened in that bill. Okay? It says, what was the average daily usage? So which part of the bill are they trying us to look at? Trying to get us to look at. I'd suggest this component here. Right? We already noticed that this part tells us about what happened this time, but we're interested in the same period last year. So which other column is that? Which one is it? It's the one on the right, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to do that. It is right, isn't it? It's years of training to be able to point to the left and say to the right. Do you know how hard that is? Anyway. Okay. So
you know when I'm driving, I have to go, oh yeah, go that way, or like go that way.
Yeah, whichever, I don't know. Turn right. Which one? Okay. Shh. Come in. Who are you summoning?
Irene.
Irene is there. Vaccination? Yeah. Time to get jagged.
Jab.
That was so unprovoked. Okay. Oh, sorry, Irene. Irene, could you get the door, please? That's okay. I'm just freezing to death. Okay. Stay with me, Year 12. Okay. Now we've already identified the part of the bill that is important, but we need all the information that's relevant there. Not only do we want the average daily usage, which you can read is 13 kilowatt hours. They also ask for the total amount of electricity used for this period, which is not, so this is one of those, where is the number on the bill? The number is not on the bill. You have to get it from the bill. What do you do? Some of you have done this. How did you calculate the total amount of power? That's the average per day. Thank you very much. So look, right there.
It says 95 days.
If you look carefully, it tells you how many days that period was. Why do the periods differ? The number of days.
Months. 30.
Some are 31, some are 30, some are 28, which in fact is what accounts for the fact that, actually, is it? The next one, I assume the next one is going to be a short one. Can you see why the next bill will be a short one? It will include, the next bill will include February 28, and it won't include 29 or 30 or 31. So you're going to have a short one. Okay. Alright, just coming back. We've got the average daily usage, 13 kilowatt hours. We've calculated the total amount of electricity used. Can I please encourage you, well, not to change your Wi-Fi settings, but to say what you are calculating. I've beaten this drum before, I will beat it again, okay? What you should have in your book is not just the number, but average daily use, right? Right, 13 kilowatt hours. Please include the unit. Units are really important here. Then when you say total usage, I'm going to encourage you not just to write down 13 times 95, right? One of them is an electricity quantity and the other one is a period of time. So I'm going to write 13 kilowatt hours times 95. I can tell which one is which. Pretty sure that's 1,235.
Yeah. How did you do that?
Because I already calculated it.
Oh.
I just remember. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I could. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. 13 times 95. 13 times 95 is close to 13 times 100, right? So it's like 1,300 minus a little bit. Anyway. Okay. Stay with me. Have a look. What's the next question? What do they ask next? Part I. If the total electricity usage is broken down in the same proportion, then what was used in peak, shoulder, and off-peak? Okay. Now it says in the same proportion. Where do I get those proportions from?
From the
Where are the proportions? Look
energy used in costs.
down here. Usage breakdown, right? So see these numbers in here, right? 34.91%, 50.54. 14.54. I'm going to have to multiply each of those numbers by what? 1,235. 34.91% of that 1,235, that'll be the peak usage. And then the shoulder, and then the off-peak. Okay? So how I'm going to do that, let me actually show you how I would write that. I would say, last year, that's my... I should make that my heading. I'm going to say peak. It's going to be, what was the percentage again? 34.91%, thank you. Times that total, 1,235 kilowatt hours. That's going to give me a number. This number I don't have. Has someone got it?
Yeah, 430. Oh no, that's the total.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh sorry, 431.1.
Don't forget the units. Okay. I'm going to do it for shoulder. I'm going to do it for off-peak. And that'll give me some different quantities. Okay. I won't repeat it because it's the same process with different numbers. What I will do is show you what to do with that number. That was answering, here was part H up here. This is part I. You can complete that for shoulder and for off-peak. So this is I and this is 1. That's not confusing at all, is it? Those are Roman numerals. So part I, part 1, that's done. Then in part J it says, using your answer for part I, that's not confusing, calculate the energy usage for the period. Okay, here's what you're going to do, right? You're going to get your numbers for last year's peak, there it is, last year's shoulder, last year's off-peak. In fact, some of you have already worked that out. Can you actually tell me what the number is?
Shoulder.
What's the shoulder?
624.16.
I'll just go with 2.
Okay,
That's
so
fine, yep. Can someone else give me the off-peak?
179.6.
6?
Round it up.
Oh, well, if you round it
Rounding it
up.
up.
That's fine, that's fine. Okay, so now I know what's been used in each of the zones. So to work out the cost, I use the same rates. That's in fact what the question says. Use the same rates as on this bill, which are, let's have a look. Here they are, these guys. Yeah, those ones right there. Okay, so in fact I'm going to be a bit cheap. Let me see if I can do... Can I? No, actually it's not going to work. I'm just going to write my calculations down here. So part J, the usage cost. By the way, what else is the cost apart from usage? There's another component, remember? This includes GST.
Oh, just
The energy availability, that's service price, which doesn't depend on how much energy you use. What does it depend on?
being supplied.
Just having electricity for however many number of days that you had electricity, which in this case is, for this bill, 95. So I'll get to that. Well, it was 93 in the current bill, but I'm thinking about last year's bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to say, all right, 431.1 kilowatt hours multiplied by, what's this cost? Hold on. This is how many total kilowatt hours in that? 47.77. Right?
I changed it to the dollars.
Which is fine. Okay. Now what I'll point out is, please notice my units. I know it gets a bit tiresome, but you will get really good at it if you do this. The cost is in cents per kilowatt hour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cents per kilowatt hour. So look at what happens to the units. Kilowatt hours per kilowatt hours. So they cancel, just like any normal fraction, right? So now you're going to get a number. Calculator. Okay. It's not unreasonable to turn this into dollars. So if you did that, that's fine. 431.1 times.
All the costs together in one.
You can do them all in one hit. That's fine. So I have 20593.647. What are my units? I haven't done any conversion.
That's $205.
That's cents, right?
Yes.
So now I'm going to write dollars on the next line.
That's $205.
94. Is that okay? If you went straight to this line, that's cool. Just tell me that you're doing that. Please do not just write 205.94. What units are you talking about? It makes a really big deal what units you're talking about. So that's why you can see, even though it gets a bit long in the tooth, writing units every time makes me certain that I'm getting it right. Does that make sense?